Good morning, everyone. I invite you all to take a deep breath. Close your eyes. And I'd like to start by reading that quote that was staring at you from Deepak Chopra. I like to think of enlightenment as a never-ending horizon. You get closer to it, and then another horizon shows up. So welcome to Mental Muscle. Week 1, day 1. Another horizon is showing up for each and every one of us. So I'd just like to take a little moment here for you to breathe. Breathing into your belly, into your chest, and then letting go. Find that rhythm for yourself and just breathe for a moment here. In this beautiful field of quantum creativity, there is horizon after horizon after horizon. There is an infinite possibility and potentiality for you in your life. Today starts the journey of that next horizon opening up. All it asks is for you to be here. Be willing to hear it, to allow it, to participate in this beautiful movement that is constantly moving through you. You get to direct it, you get to focus it, and you get to live it out loud. So as you breathe in to the belly, to the chest, as you exhale, take this moment to ground yourself. Let go of all of your tension, stress. Check your shoulders, your neck. Just allow yourself to let go. This is a journey unlike any journey you've taken before. For this journey is your permission to let life live you. Breathing that in, letting it go. Feeling the rhythm. Feeling that flow. Knowing that this is the beginning. Take another deep breath. And let it go. And let's get started. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining Mental Muscle. Deepak Chopra is correct. And we start every mental muscle with meditation, because there is an infinite flow of creativity and love and fun and passion and joy and all that good stuff right there inside of you. You have not come here to get anything. You have come here to release everything, to give yourself the opportunity to let go, to allow, and to surrender. Now, all of you know you're going to come up with a word today, hopefully, or maybe you even came here with that word. I certainly did. And you're going to find that perfect place for you to allow yourself to live life to the fullest, no matter what. Okay, so let's get started. Let's talk about this. Sorry, my assistant, Kevin, has come in to ask me a question. I have to send an invite to someone who has gotten lost in the internet. So hold on a second while I do that. Well, I'm not going to be able to do that. So that person's journey will begin when this is uploaded and they can watch it at that time. So here we go. What if? We start today with those two words. What if? You know, when I first wrote this program, when I first came up with this idea, it was really based on the physical body being worked out. It was based on watching somebody train someone's body. And you all know I am very invested in training my body, but only if I can train my body-mind connection at the same time. And when I go to the gym and work out, I'm actually using my mind. I use a timer. I breathe the very same way we breathe. I do my spirit breath breathing. I know exactly how my body responds to my mind. And did you hear that? I know how my body responds to my mind. I am very well aware when I'm at the gym that my mind is doing the work and my body just follows through. So that's what this program is about, for you to allow your life to do the work and you just follow through. The gifts of your life just show up. So what if you knew you were successful and that's all you knew? What if you knew that you were absolutely successful no matter what you tried? And it didn't matter what your training was. It didn't matter if you grew up into that family that gave you that permission to do it. It didn't matter about, none of it mattered. All that mattered was, I know I am successful. And that's all I know. And not to throw Tom Cruise into this at the very beginning of Mental Muscle, but I'm going to, because that's the truth. That boy at 18 years old knew he was a movie star. And it didn't matter what anybody else thought. And well, the success is in the pudding. Was that the proof is in the pudding? Whatever. The proof is in his career. That is Tom Cruise. That is what he has done with this. So what if I knew I was rich and that's all I knew? I don't need you to show me your hands. But if any of you are having any kind of financial situations, any kind of financial crunch, any kind of financial lack, it really has to do with what you know about money, not money itself. Money's prosperous. Money, prosperity, it's everywhere. You can look and see all the people really doing well financially. So it's there. Your mind has put it away from you. That's all it is. So what if this time you knew you were rich, that's all you knew? What if you committed today to using your mind in such a way that you only know the things that you want to know? Now, that doesn't mean we're all going to become, Stepford wives and just walk around going, everything's perfect, while the world falls down around us. No, that's called denial. We're not teaching denial here. No, it's about looking right at what's going on and say, you know what? I see you. I see what I've created so far. And now I'm ready to know the truth about you. I am not lack. I am prosperity. I am not failure. I am success. What if I knew I was insanely talented and that's all I know? Well, I do know that. I am insanely talented. Let's all say that. Corrine, let's all say that. I am insanely talented. How does that feel? I'm looking at your faces. You all look like you're smiling. Even my nephew is smiling. So I am insanely talented. Well, I do know that. And it has proven itself out. I left Philadelphia at 19 to star on Broadway. I had no right to do that. I didn't have any of I had no training to do that. Nothing set me up for success. God knows my family didn't. Nothing set me up for success, but I succeeded. Why? Because I knew it. That's what we're looking at here. That is the mental muscle you are here to develop more of. Because many of you have done this many times. John Rossi in Philadelphia. What is this, your fifth mental muscle maybe? Yeah, 5. So every single time we learn more, we become more, we allow more, we give permission to more in our lives. So what if I knew my body was vibrant with perfect health and that's all I knew? Any one of you who are here with any health issues, or any remnants of any health issues left. Just talk to your body. Tell it the truth. The truth is you are vibrant health. My body is vibrant health. That's all you need to know. And I'm not saying, oh, that's all you got to do. All you got to do is just say to yourself, you're fine, you're fine. It's not just saying it, because it's not the words, folks. It's the belief. And that's our journey here. Can you get to the belief, the absolute belief? And you know how you know you've got the belief? You know you've got the belief because it's showing up and you don't hear all those yeah buts in your head. Yeah, well, I am vibrant health, but I'm 69. So I'm health as a 69-year-old should have. Oh my God, put a big X over top of that. Health is health, folks. Vibrancy is vibrancy. Everything that you want should not be predicated on everything that has come before this. I think you're all getting the point of this, what you're here to know, that your body is perfect health, vibrant. What if I knew I deserved to be happy? And that's all I know. And this is where most people start thinking, well, you can't be happy all the time, can't you? Why not? What if you were happy even as you were grieving? What if you recognized that happiness was not something that comes and goes? Happiness sustains itself in your life. And sometimes you're sad, and sometimes you're feeling full, and sometimes you are feeling empty. There are many, many versions of this. But what if happiness was no longer something that you had to find, go after, prove to yourself? What if you accepted, I'm a happy person? Try that. Say it. I'm a happy person. And if that doesn't feel comfortable to you, there's the work. I'm a happy person. One of the things with happy people don't get caught up in a lot of crap. Show of hands. How many of you still get caught up in some crap? Yeah, that's a lot of hands. So happy people, we just don't, see, I've already accepted this, which is good since I'm facilitating this. I do my best. I'm not perfect. I still have moments, but I do my best to not get caught up in a lot of mindless, meaningless, stupid behavior that goes on all around me, including my own. Let it go. Let it go. I'm not going to sing that song from Frozen, although I can't get it out of my head. Just let it go. So that is what you are here to know. So are you ready for that? I mean, here you are, many of you again. Are you ready to once and for all only know those things? What happens to the mind when you start knowing something else? Did you ever say to yourself, I'm a happy person, but damn, that thing over there. And then all of a sudden you watch yourself take the journey from happy to annoyed or happy to disgusted, whatever you get to. And here's the thing, I can stay happy and still look over there and say, that's not what I want. But I'm going to take happy and I'm going to move it over there. Do you ever try being really happy around people that are annoying? It just annoys them even more. That's the thing. That's the gift you get out of that. And the bigger gift is they tend to drift away because energy stays with the energy that it is like. Like energy expands. So I know I'm being sarcastic about that, and I don't really go into rooms looking for people that are annoyed and try to be happy around them. I'm just happy. And if people need to move away, you know my saying, highest and furthest. And you get to do that. You are in charge. So if you find yourself surrounded by a bunch of, I won't say a bunch of people, I will say by energy that does not really support who you want to be and what you want to be feeling, highest and furthest. But don't forget the highest. Somebody said to me the other day, I'm good with the furthest part. I have a hard time really thinking the highest for them. It's okay, but you got to think highest. Highest first, and then furthest. So you are now quantum activists, if you are willing to be. And let's just talk about the quantum field. The quantum field is just our way of understanding particles and space. We are made up of particles and space. That's all we are. Your body, your hair, your eyes, your muscles, everything about you physically are the particles. And then there's space. And if you take all the particles in the universe, and condensed it to one thing, you'd have a little something on a spoon. The rest of it's space. And do you know why that is? That's because the space that surrounds you is the creative substance of the universe that is flowing through you and allowing you to create, to think, to decide, to move, to focus, all of that. So we are particles in space. You are all of that energy around you, and you are the very substance of your body that you feel right there where you are. Quantum activists, that's Amit Goswami came up with this. Quantum activists are people who actually understand who they are, where they are, what they are, and use that to activate their lives. Now, I just want you to think for a moment about a project you have or something you want to accomplish. I know there are people on here that want to write books. There are people here that own distilleries. There are people on here that have many, many designs that they want to accomplish in the world. How do you do that? Well, you can buy the next bestseller of 7 Steps to Creating My Best Project, or you can start by getting in touch with the very essence of creativity that is who you are. A quantum activist knows who he or she is and unleashes that into their world. So you're going to ask, how do we do that? Well, these 16 weeks are going to give you many, many directives, many choices, many questions to answer, or to just permit to live where you are. That's you activating that thing in you that is ready to break forth. And I know you all feel it. So the philosophy of mental muscle, and I know many of you have heard the elephant story, but I love telling it every time. You know, the baby elephants are held in captivity by putting a little clamp on their foot and putting a stake in the ground. And when they do that, the baby elephant struggles at first to free itself because it knows it's meant to be free. It's meant to be unleashed. It is meant to be in the wild. It is meant to be creative and successful. It's just meant to be living life from a very primal state of movement and energy. So it struggles, and that little clamp cuts into its foot. Once there's enough pain, once there's enough struggle, the baby elephant stops and is captured. And now it's in captivity. Now, fast forward, the baby elephant is now an adult elephant, tons and tons of weight. And that same stupid little clamp is put on its foot, a silly little stake put in the ground, and the elephant has already believed, created the core beliefs that it is captured, and therefore lives its life from that state. So why do I tell this really disgusting story? Very depressing story, really. Well, because we're all elephants. We have created beliefs as we have moved through our lives, and we somehow think those beliefs are real, and they're still holding us back. Beliefs that I can't really do that. I'm not good enough for that. I'm not smart enough to do that. I don't have enough education for that. My body wasn't born that way. Whatever. You know, when I grew up with an idea that I was always going to be less than because I was gay. You know, now I've turned that around. I'm like, I'm good with this. I'm really good with this. And who knows, maybe some other life I'll come back as someone else. And I'm not here to teach about that because I have no idea, to be honest. So your core beliefs are really the essence of what mental muscle is all about. And here's the thing. Many of your core beliefs you don't even know you have. You may even suspect that you have them, but they are in there going rogue, doing what they do. And you don't even have the capacity to do anything about them when you don't know what they are. They just do it. Do you ever find yourself depressed and you have to back it up to see what you just got depressed about? And then you find it and there it is? That's the work. It's going backwards and really asking ourselves, why do I believe this? And very often you're going to find out that you only believe what you believe because your parents believed it. You were taught that. You watched it. You saw it. I mean, my parents had a great marriage when I was a little boy. And then it really went sour. And I watched a marriage in major decline and struggle. And it just went on and on and on until my mother died of cancer. You know, had she not gotten sick, they'd have been divorced. And they were very clear about that. When you grow up and you watch that, or whatever your personal story is, when you grow up watching those sort of stories, that was my idea of what love was. That's how it worked. And so I took that into my young adulthood, and boy, was that a mess. Anybody have those things they took into their young adulthood and they were like, how did I think that this was the way to live my life? But now, I hate to say this, but none of us are young adults. I know most of us are mentally, but we have some heft, we have some weight, we have some age with us. So it's time to stop being who we used to be, stop being and living from those core beliefs that aren't even ours, and start creating the ones that we really want. And I know we've done that, but I think it's time, it's really time in a quantum activism way to do it more consistently and to do it with a focused attention on what it is we want to accomplish. So this requires commitment. You have just signed up for a 16-week course. 16 weeks can feel like a long time. You know, it's 4 months. But you know, neural pathways and beliefs and habits that you've created over years and years of putting them in place. And neural pathways take time to create those divots in your brain where you start thinking one way. And now your natural thought process takes you to that divot, that neural pathway. So we're looking to create neural pathways here that are positive, that are encouraging, that are constructive, and give us what we want. So it's going to take 16 weeks and another 16 after that. And then the rest of the year, when you take everything you've learned and you stay on focus, it's a lifestyle. This is my 23rd mental muscle. That's 23 times 16 weeks. That's a lot of weeks. And I still have core beliefs that come up, and I'm like, really? You really are still there? Unfreaking believable. And then I just get back into it and start going, all right, where did this come from again? So it takes time, but it takes commitment. And the reason why I talk so much at the beginning of this about all of this is because we need some nudging to be as committed as we need to be for this. We need to really, truly realize what's going on. When Ernest Holmes wrote his seminal book, The Science of Mind, he basically spoke to a generation that had never heard that sort of thing before. That little, I don't know, what was he, 5'6"? That little 5'6" man with the nasal voice and the charisma of a penny, you know, he just got up on stage, and it wasn't because he was this dynamic speaker. We've all seen, most of us have seen videos of that man, and it's like, wow. You know, when you think of Jesus, you think he's probably this long-haired guy from the front of a romance novel running around Jerusalem, and everybody just fell because he was so gorgeous and smart and loving. You know, when you think Ernest Holmes, you know, kind of don't go there. But he got up and he said, there is a power in you greater than you are, and you can use it. And people were like, what? What? And they were thirsty for it. We unfortunately think there's a power greater for me, greater than the universe, and I can use it. That's like the rosary bead of religious science. We've heard it so many times. We like, yeah, I know that, but now what? No, 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 no. You don't know that. I don't know that so fully, so inherently that that's just the way I think. That's what this is about. And that takes commitment. So next thing, are you willing to ask the right questions during these 16 weeks? During these 16 weeks, my next book will come out, The 5 Questions. And one of the things about that book, one of the taglines is, are you asking the right questions? Are you really willing to ask yourself the deep, deep, deep questions and not run away from the answers? Now, a lot of you are going to ask questions that are going to come up with a lot of the same answers. But I would like to suggest that those answers that may come up, or those stories that may come up, have more juice in them. Just recently, someone came to talk to me about they were going through a cancer crisis. And we talked and we talked and we had our session. When it was over, I was sitting there by myself and I thought to myself, have I really dealt with the issues I had when I had stage 4 cancer? Because I moved through that like a hero. I was everybody's hero. I got everybody to watch me go through it. And my God, even my hair stayed on my head. I was that clear and that absolutely determined to show that I can go through this great. Recently, I've sat with myself and asked myself, would you like to now think about what you really went through? Would you like to actually feel what your body felt? Would you like to actually look at that whole journey and see if there's something there that you have pushed into the farther corners of your consciousness that's still working with you? Because there was a fear I had of ever having that happen again. And I was like, I don't need that fear. I don't want that fear. And that, that line from Macbeth, she protesteth too much. I suddenly felt like the Queen Mab, walking around thinking, no, I'm good. Everything's good. Everything's good. So there will come things to you. Things will come up for you. I don't want you to just throw them away. I don't want you to go, yeah, I dealt with that. I've dealt with that. Okay, maybe you have. Give it a little bit more room. Give it a little more space, whatever it is. You all willing to do that? Really ask the questions that are going to move you, perhaps annoy you. I know many people take mental muscle and it really pisses them off. A lot of the things that we realize, and then I don't see them. All of a sudden, there's 4 or 5 faces missing from the screen, and then I have to write to them, and they're like, "Oh, it's just too hard." And I'm like, "Get back on the screen." Most of them come back on the screen, and some people don't. This is not a child's play. And yet it is in some respects, because if you approach it from a child's perspective, then you're willing to look at it all in a new way. So yeah, you're going to have questions. You're going to be asking questions and listening for the answers. You're going to have things like, why do I react this way? Why do I always do this or that? That's a big one. We all have personalities, but do you think your personalities were perfectly individualized for you, that you were sent here with this predetermined personality? No, your personality is nothing more than a demonstration of the way you have used your mind thus far. Your personality is the reaction to your beliefs. So you may have you may be sitting there going, I'm kind of a shy personality, like I am. That's funny. So you may be saying to yourself, I'm outgoing. Well, you might have to ask yourself, why am I outgoing? Why do I have to walk into the middle of a room and be the center of attention? Not me, obviously. I'm just asking you. Why do you have to walk into the middle of the room and be the center of attention? I actually did ask myself that question a long time ago, and I had a lot of really good answers for why I had to walk into the middle of the room and be the center of attention. And most of those answers were blaming my parents for putting all of their attention on my older brother, Tom, because he was the star of the family. He was the king. He was the big, macho, handsome athlete. And I was that wiry, skinny, annoying kid in the corner asking too many questions of people that had no answers. And so, I could say, well, that's why I never got attention. You know what? No offense, bullshit. Okay, they didn't give you attention. Oh, well, you're now 25, 30 years old. That's not the reason to go and be needing all of that attention. So, what is my intention? What is my intention in life? Do I believe in what I say? That's a big question to ask yourself. Do you believe yourself? Do you believe what you say in life? I know there are many of you on here writing books. When you say, I'm going to write this book, I'm finally going to write this book, do you believe it? Do you absolutely believe it? Is there anything in your body still questioning you, saying, really, are you really going to do that? Or maybe you'll do that. We got to stop living with the maybes. Maybe I'll do that. If you hear yourself saying, maybe I'll do this, back it up and find out, is it something I really want to do, and get to a yes or no? Get to a definitive answer and then do it. And here's the thing, you can change your mind. Of course you can change your mind. You can turn around and say, all right, I thought I wanted to do that. That's not what I want to do. But if that's a habit, and you find yourself constantly doing that, that's something to look at. Do you see how this onion keeps peeling itself back? It's not enough to just say the answer is yes, the answer is no. We're not looking for uh, um, closed answers. We're looking for questions that are open-ended, questions that keep peeling themselves back. Can I make a decision and stick to it? What are my beliefs? So there are a lot of questions here. And here's the big one. Am I worth it? Low self-esteem, I think, is the biggest disease in the world because we were not brought up to believe in our worth, most of us. So one of the first things you need to ask yourself is, are you worth taking these 16 weeks and putting your mind, putting your attention on it, really focusing on it? And I know a lot of you are doing this with your husbands and wives and partners, and there's a lot of people doing this that you will never see because they do it later in the day, or they're on a different coast or a different country, really. Work with one another. If you're doing this with someone, work with one another, talk to one another. But here's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to call each other out. I just want you to listen. Because frankly, I don't want you to call yourself out. I want you to listen to yourself, to what's going on. There is something in you that knows exactly what to do with everything that's going to come up during these 16 weeks. And you need to know that. You need to believe that. You need to understand that and be willing to take the journey. And I'm going to answer this question for you right now. You are so worth the time you're going to take. You are so worth becoming the greatest version of you could ever imagine. And it starts today. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, what mind can conceive, man can achieve. Now, here's the thing. I actually think it's what mind can conceive and believe man can achieve. Not to, rewrite Ralph Waldo Emerson, but I just did. What mind can conceive and believe. So it's not enough to just go, oh, here's what I'm going to do. But if you think that and then don't do it, what happened? Probably something inside of you thought you couldn't do it. Probably something inside of you questioned whether or not you had the real intent, the real guts, the real stuff it takes to do it. So yeah, conception's important. Think of all these great things you want to accomplish in these next 4 months. But ask the questions, can I do this? And if you ever hear yourself saying no, there's the work. Back it up. So, experiential, grab a piece of paper right where you are. Why are you here? What do you want for your life? So just write it out. Just don't even think about it right now. I don't want you to get all, critical in your thinking. Just, why am I here? Why am I here? What do I want? What do I want out of this 16 weeks? Just write it out because you're going to need to look back at this at some point. Why am I here? What do I really want right now? Maybe the word want wants to be revised to what wants to know me, what's inside of me, what wants to come out. What am I feeling a tug about? Why am I here? Why did I decide to either do this again or do this for the first time? Now, you may also ask this question throughout the day and you might have a different answer. So, or something may come up that's different than what you're writing right now. That's okay. Add to it. Don't switch to it. Add to it. There's going to be a lot of what am I doing today? What am I doing right here in this moment? What do I want out of this situation? Just keep adding it up. So let's talk about your BS. And yes, it does stand for your BS, your bullshit, but also stands for your belief system. One of the things I'd like you to do between now and Thursday is create a list of your beliefs, things you know you believe, just things you absolutely know you believe. And then, this is different this time, then I'd like you on the other side to make a list of your bullshit. Call yourself out on it. I actually believe this, and that is bullshit. So you'll have two lists and just let them keep growing throughout these whole 16 weeks. And some of your BS, maybe you're going to be able to look at and put a line through it and go, yeah, I don't believe that anymore. And some of your beliefs, you're also going to be able to put a line through it and go, yeah, I don't believe that anymore either. Have a real concrete process in front of you as you move through this. Don't just let it float all around. Be the curator of your own mind. So you must be willing to look at your BS, both sides. And you must be willing to get dirty. This came from someone in the very first boot camp. The first boot camp I did was 10 people in a room at 7 a.m. I stood up in church. I said, I want 10 people to try this process with me. I had them right away. We started the next day. 10 people in the room. And this, I still remember Paul Denniston was sitting there and he started crying. And I was like, what's the matter? He goes, I just realized, I thought I was going to do this. And it was going to be fun. And he said, it's just, I'm going to have to get so dirty doing all this work. And I just started laughing. And I was like, yeah, you are. He said, well, I don't know that I signed up to get dirty. And he's like this, he's a very, very curated man. And I was like, well, it's just a choice. I have a waiting list. I can put someone else in here. By the end, he was the dirtiest of any of us. He was filthy dirty. He let everything out. That's our job. Let it all out. For those of you that like to look good, and I know I look really good today. I did get up and do my hair, but I might not be doing that as the weeks go by, as I land here at 7 a.m. You may just see me in my earliest stages in the morning, but let it out. Just let yourself, don't worry about whether you're perfect or not. Anybody have perfectionism issues? I love that some of you are laughing, going, do I really say yes to that? Right? We all have perfectionism issues. Thank you, Aaron. I already knew that about you. We all have perfectionism issues, right? So let's let go of those. What if we all just let it all hang out? Because if it hangs out, you're going to see it. And if you see it and you're doing the work, you're going to be willing to ask what the hell that is. And if you're really willing to do the work, you're going to start listening to what I really want to know about it. So getting dirty, big part of it. So our pre-training, release any preconceived ideas you have of yourself, what you think you know. And you know my motto, and write this down, I know nothing. Now what can I learn? You need to know less coming into this. I know nothing. Now what can I learn? Because we come in here thinking, yeah, I know this part, I know this part. And as soon as you say, well, I already know that, you are no longer learning. You are no longer open to hearing. I read the Science of Mind book every single year from cover to cover. I have read that book now for 20 years. No, I'm not 25 years. Every time I read it, I'm like, was this in here last time? Because I don't quite remember this line. Because I'm different. You're different. We're different. So I know nothing. What can I learn? And that means get off your back. Stop knowing yourself as someone that you wouldn't want to know. There's a line. I should remember that. Stop knowing myself as someone that I wouldn't want to know. So let go of the past. Wouldn't it be great if we all let go of our past today? Just let go of it all. That means all your resentments. That means everybody that you blame for being where you are in whatever way, shape, or form. Let it go. Anything that comes up from the past is coming up to recognize it and let it go. Now, I don't mean ignore it. I don't mean pretend it's not there, Because pretending someone's not there, it makes them louder and louder and louder. It's, yeah, I'm ready to let go of that story. But make sure you get everything out of that story. Make sure you get all the juice out of that story. Allow. Allow something bigger than you to become the guiding force of your life. And I love this picture. Allow. I talked about it at the top, the quantum field. Allow that creative energy that's inside of you. Allow it to find you. Give yourself permission. Permission is going to be a big word. I just said that and thought, is permission my word? I don't think permission's my word. I actually came here with my word today. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But give yourself permission. It is a big part of this certain session of mental muscle. Give yourself permission to make mistakes. Give yourself permission to not be perfect and yet know you're perfect. Did you get that? That's the whole crux of this. I know I am perfect, and I know that from that perfection, I make some really bad moves. Not bad like in, bad, but like moves that don't support me in some ways. It's okay. Totally okay. So allow something bigger than you to take over. So the boot camp program, you show up, you do the work, knowing the truth about who you are, and you make changes based on what you know. The making changes is the important part. If you know that something you're doing is not supporting you, you need to make changes. You need to stop. When I teach the BODS program, people have lost so much weight in BODS, which most people think they're coming to take BODS because they want to lose weight. It's not a weight loss program. It's a program to get people in touch with their bodies and to let them know that their bodies are doing what their minds are telling them to do. So if you have something going on in your body, in your mind, in your relationships, whatever it is, once you know what that is, make the changes. That's what's necessary to do here. It's not okay to just go, yep, boy, I see this. Boy, I see this. What are you going to do about it? This philosophy, it's all well and good, but it's all just a bunch of letters scribbled into a book unless you actually take it out of the book and live it. So that's our job. Make the changes that is ours to make. So write this down for yourself. Today, I decide to live fully. One of the things you're going to notice during your 16 weeks of mental muscle is you will have little stickies all over your house. So those of you that are worried about, that have perfectionism issues and don't like your house to look like anything but a museum, any of you live in museums? I always talk about the museum living. Yeah, Thor's like, not my house. No, mine can sometimes be a museum, but luckily I live with Kevin, who leaves everything everywhere, so I don't have to worry about that. I've gotten over that over these years. But today I decide to live fully. You'll have these, I like to put them on my medicine cabinet, so when I wake up and, drag myself into the bathroom, I'm like, all right, live fully, stand up straight, all that stuff. So the 5 building blocks, meditation. If you are not a meditator, you are now. And that doesn't mean that you have to twist yourself up into a pretzel and sit and, close your eyes and not move for an hour. No, you might only need 5 minutes. Doesn't matter what you need, but take the time. And it's when you wake up, take the time to center your mind, center your day, center your entire sense of yourself. Whatever. It can be a walk, it can be a jog. I tend to go to the gym, put my headsets on, and I will literally do the Stairmaster for 20 minutes with beautiful music playing through my head. Sometimes I play Deepak Chopra, whatever it is that stimulates me and excites me, and my eyes are closed. People have said to me, why do you do the Stairmaster with your eyes closed? Isn't that kind of weird? I'm like, no, I don't want to see you all. I don't want to be participating in whatever's going on. Even if there are cute people working out, I keep my eyes closed and just listen. That's my meditation. And I have other ways of doing it. And I also teach spirit breath every day. So meditations, number 1. Communication. Okay, here's where many of you're like, I'm not doing that. I hate that journal shit. You need to do a journal. You need to buy a really fun one, a pretty one, but you need to journal every single day. And usually the good thing to do is do it when you wake up in the morning. Just wake up and journal. You may even say, I hate that I didn't get enough sleep. I really wish I hate this journal. I hate that he asks us to do this, but I'll do it anyway. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever you want to write down, just start doing it. Because there's something inside of you that's aching to get out. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you're going to be in the middle of your journal and you're going to say it. You're going to write it and you're going to be like, whoa, where did that come from? I thought I dealt with that. And at the end of these 16 weeks, there's a point where the journals come into play. So start journaling. Now, there's also the blog. Each one of you has your credentials to get on the Mental Muscle blog. Communication between you and me happens on the blog. Now, also on your Zoom link, I don't know if you're seeing everybody right now or just me, but there is a way for you to see everybody as well as the PowerPoint slides. And if you don't know how to do that, then write to Thor. I'm sure he'd be thrilled to tell you exactly how to do that. So, yes, communication is essential. I want to know what's going on with you. I just heard Journey in my head. I want to know what love is. I don't know why that just went through my head, but I want to know what's going on in your lives. Write it on the journal, write it on the blog. And if you want to be personal and you want to be anonymous, just don't put your name on the blog. Write it down. I'll still deal with it in the next session. So you don't have to have your name there for everybody to know. But it's also great to know that what happens in mental muscle stays in mental muscle. And I also would suggest, ask, please, do not criticize one another's blogs and don't give everybody advice. You're not here to give advice to anybody else to tell them how to get through their issues. That's an issue in and of itself. If you really feel like you want to tell John Rossi, John, here's what I would do if I were you, really struggle against doing that. John doesn't need you to tell him what you would do. John needs to find in his own soul what is his to do. I don't know why I brought you up, John. We have three Philly people here today. That's great. Philadelphia is in the room. So, enough said about the journaling and the blogging. I expect to see a bunch of blogs today at some point, just saying, I'm so excited to be here. Here's my word, whatever. Okay, intention. I give you an intention, which is the intention of the week. This week, it's going to be your word. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. So you'll have an intention every single week that you are paying attention to. Both of those building blocks are important. Knowing what your intention is and then paying attention to it. I can't even tell you how many people I'll say, so what was the intention this week? I'll ask on Friday and they'll be like, oh, what was that? Clearly you have not been paying attention to the intention if you don't remember what it was. Easy, pretty much easy way of figuring that out with you guys. So once you get the intention, pay attention to it. Marilee Blaisdell writes things all over the place. She'll just write it and make sure she knows she has it. Know what your intentions are and then pay attention to them during the week. I like to say, as soon as I give you an intention, it's like that red convertible that you want to buy and therefore everybody's driving one. As soon as you get the intention, it shows up everywhere, but you got to pay attention. And then accountability. Blog is your accountability. Me being able to see your progress is your accountability. Your accountability to the program, your accountability to me, yes, but most importantly, your accountability to yourself. I'm gonna ask, and some days I'm gonna say, okay, I want to know numbers 1 to 7. 7 means that you've blogged every day and you've journaled every day and you've paid attention and had your intention at the forefront of your mind every day. And you'd be shocked how many 2s and 3s I get. Yeah, I think I did it 3 days. You need to be 7 and 7. Not the drink, but you need to be 7 for 7, right? Okay, that's accountability. Okay, here we go. Your word. We have 9 minutes left here, folks. Day 1, week 1, your word. This whole week is about the word you are going to use that is at the heart and soul of your whole journey of this mental muscle. It's interesting. Very often, I don't have my word until sometime during day 1. That's usually my thing. That word came to me last week, and I was even like, do I really want to do that word for 16 weeks? I know I can change it, but I tell people try not to. And it just wouldn't let me go, so I'm not going to change it. And you can share your word if you like or not. I tend not to share my word because I want it to be my personal word, and I want the intimacy of that word in me. It can be the word, you could have courage as your word. Courage, because, oh, did I just pick your word, Jill? You can have courage as your word. See, it's just something's coming. You can have courage as your word. You could have prosperity as your word. You could have, oh, some of the words are just hysterical. Jonathan Zen's picked a word and I had to look it up. I didn't know what the word meant. Nor did he, by the way, when I came back and I said, do you want to tell me what that word means? And he told me, I went, no, that's not what it means. What was the word? Oh, I don't remember now. I'll get it for you though. So it can be any word, but it has to be a word that stimulates you. And it has to have a meaning to you. It has to be a word that's going to transform you in some way. So each morning when you wake up, before you do anything else, empty your mind onto a page of your journal. These are your directives. Work with your word all week. Make a conscious intention to remember it at least 3 times throughout each day, your word. Before you go to bed each night, remind yourself of your word. Those of you who have iPhones or phones that do this, I set alarms. And every hour, my alarm goes off on my phone and I look down and there is the word right there in front of me, just in case I would forget it. But you could set it for every 3 hours, every 4 hours. I like to do it every hour because it just goes off. I see it, it's on my desk, and there it is, and there's my word, and it brings it back to my mind. So how many people raise your hands? How many of you have your word already? Wow. That's great. Margie, you don't have your word yet? Okay. You'll get it. Okay. That's great. Wow. Now, here's the thing about changing your word. It's okay to change your word. But before you do, find out why you're changing it. Is it too difficult? Is it annoying you? Are you caught up in a perfectionism thing because you think you picked the wrong word? All of that. It's another way to just explore the machinations of your mind. Okay, remember, what you tell yourself is far more important than what others tell you. It's time to take care of your mind. And now the journey begins. So I invite you all to just take a deep breath, close your eyes. So just bring your word to mind. If you don't have your word, just let your mind relax. One little word, filled with the power of the universe to transform whatever is mine to transform. I'm so grateful to each person who answered the call to take this journey. And I know that there is that within each one of us that is ready, willing, and gives permission to the unleashing of this good that my life is all about. So just breathe into your word. It will be your partner through this whole 16 weeks. I know nothing. Now what can this word teach me? I'm so grateful to everyone for participating, and I just get out of the way and let this mental muscle begin. Take another deep breath. Let it out. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for all that you are inevitably going to share and receive from this journey. I know that right where I am, the universe is doing everything it can to bring my highest and my best forward. I know that for myself, and I know that for each and every one of us. So have a great day, everyone. Please stay on after I turn this off. I want to talk to you all for 1 second. Have a beautiful day, though. Namaste.